to Welcome to Jackie's Lyric Corner. I am Jackie, and I'm back from vacation. So, okay, you guys, as you guys know, we canceled our London trip because with, world events and everything. And sadly, I hope these, this situation gets resolved somehow. I think it might be too late for it to be resolved peacefully, but hopefully it will. I pray for everyone and in those places. But anyway, we had opted to not to go to London because we felt it wasn't safe. And we decided, since we already have the time off, may as well go to Orlando, Florida. So we did that. We did the whole Universal and Halloween Horror Nights, my first time going. And we did the Disney Springs twice. So first I'll talk a little bit about that, and then I'll get to the whole what I read on this trip, which was not a lot because I was on vacation and we were at Universal. So when we got to Universal, we didn't spend much time in the main Universal part, like the Adventureland and all that. We saved that for we did the Halloween Horror Nights. But we did go to Harry Potter World. And I feel like I basically did the same thing I did with Harry when we went together for four years ago. So because like my dad and mom started watch the movies a while, because my nephews are getting, as I told you guys, my nephews got into the series. So I was So they were actually interested in going to Diagon Alley, I can't say it, Diagon Alley, and Hogsmeade and all that, and so we did the Gringotts roller coaster ride, and we did the castle ride, basically, which are the same two rides Sarah and I did when she was with me, when she met up with us and joined us for a couple days 4 years ago. And I even got another wand. So let's see. We got this. And this time I had a little help with the whole, doing all the interactive stuff this time. So that was cool. And actually I got this because, so they have a wand choosing ceremony in the building next door, where a handful of people go into this other space next door, and the keeper of the wands picks someone, and basically you kind of recreate the scene with Harry Potter receiving his wand, his wand choosing him by the keeper of the wands has cast magic and it goes wrong, and then eventually he finds the right one, and just like with Harry, there's all this this energy and all this magic happens and it glows, and it's and I didn't know, the people there at the store were like, oh, you don't have to buy it. But both my dad and my uncle were like, well, the wand shows her, so so that was really, and that was a surprise because there were kids that were, because I guess like I said, I look like a teenager, but there were kids that were younger than me. I thought that they would get chosen, but to be fair, I think I was the closest person to the guy, to the person there, the keeper of the wands. So that's why he was like, and what is your name? And I was, oh, and I gave him my name, and we did, like I said, we did all the, where it cast a couple spells, it goes wrong and all that. So that was surprising and really cool. And they were, and like I said, my uncle and dad, they were my parents and my uncle came with us. They were like, well, the wand shows you. You should get it. So I was like, okay. So yeah. So unfortunately, it is expensive, and I find it so stupid that the paper bags that you if you don't want to be carrying a box around with you all day, you want it with a bag and handles cost $2. It's like, are you kidding me? But then again, the grocery stores and stuff, they charge you for their books too, for their bags too. Our store doesn't, but other stores do. So that was kind of like, really? But my mom was like, oh, what the heck, go, you may as well get it so you don't have to have a bag. You can have a bag with a handle to carry around in. So that was really fun. This is dragon heartstring and hornbeam, I think. Although my mom was like, it's not very pretty. Like I said, this is more like probably what this is what they look like. So this is a more realistic wand instead of like those cheap wands that magicians use and stuff. My cousin, though, she has one of the collectible wands. She got the Luna Lovegood's wand. I just found that out when we showed off our wand. When I showed her the wand I got, she brought hers along and was like, and it was Luna Lovegood's wand. So that I thought was really cool. But collectible wands are a bit more pricey, so it's like you don't want to spend, because I was already spending, this is like $63, so it's like, but I was happy to get another wand to add. And I did get another t-shirt. As well, I'll just fold it again. This is, I did want to get there were these PJs with snitches on it. You could get I think it had pants and shorts to go with it, but pajamas are a little bit more expensive than t-shirts. I was like, oh, might as well get this one. So, and t-shirts, I wear t-shirts all the time. So, we also, I told my parents the dragon on the Gringotts building raised fire. My uncle's asking a lot of questions because he's never read the books before. So I did, we were explaining, my parents and I both were explaining all this stuff to him. And we got a lot more pictures. And I was basically making up because last time I ended up losing, I think I lost my phone or something, and I lost all of my pictures for some reason. I can't remember why. So I was only able to get some pictures from Terry, but not a lot. So I was kind of trying to recreate some of the photos. Like I took a picture in front of the night bus with, actually this time, I don't think he was there last time we went, when Terry and I were there, but the conductor and then the head, the shrunken head actually talked this time, interacted with him. The conductor, Ben, and the shrunken head were interacting, so that was really fun, and we got to take a picture with him. And I had to explain where I was from, and that was, I kind of struggle on that, because I'm just, like, kind of struggling to explain what state I am and stuff, because, like, it was like, you like, where's that, or, and what is, it's like, that the state, and this is where this happens and all that. So he's like, I think he kind of saw I was struggling to explain, so I was like, oh, okay. So that was a little awkward. And then we did, and then we also went to the Three Broomsticks. I think I basically got the same meal I got last time, although I was starting to feel sick at that moment. So I was like, I finished most of my food, but I didn't eat my other chicken, because it was the rotisserie chicken, and it was a lot of chicken. It was a lot. The second piece was really big. They had and so I was like, I can't eat all this. So, including the butterbeer, which that's a lot. And that butterbeer is basically like root beer, so it's a lot. We kept the mugs though. We kept the mugs to give to my we got 3 of them so that we could get them for my nephews and niece. We could give the cups to them. But it's definitely not the butterbeer that my sister made at the party for my nephew's 8th birthday. Little bit lighter. Not as thick as the butterbeer that they saw at the park. And I forgot how rough the rides are. I forgot how rough how rough the rides could be. And I have this bad habit when I'm waiting to get on a ride, I get very anxious. And, I try to hide my anxiousness by just talking constantly. Um, Making comments. That's how I get through my, anxiety about going on the ride. Even if I've been on a ride before, I mean, it's not like I go to Disney on a ride or Universal or other theme parks on a regular basis. So it's like my time in between experiencing these rides is few and far between. So it's like I kind of didn't remember what the ride experience was. But I forgot. Like now, the Gringotts ride. Surprisingly, my parents thought that one was a little bit better as far as roughness compared to the ride in the castle. That was a little rougher. Because, I mean, you were flying over the castle, you were getting chased by the Dementors. At one point, you go through the forest where you run into the spiders, there's a dragon, you go into the bowels of the castle where you run into Voldemort. I think that's the place. Oh no, that Voldemort and Bellatrix Lestrange, I think you run into her on you run into them on the Gringotts ride. The Gringotts ride. Yeah, you run into them there. I don't know if you run into Voldemort on the other ride but yeah, you run into all these different monsters and stuff like that. So that was a little rough. And for a second, I forgot how you kind of do this at one point, and it felt like I was gonna fall out of it, even though the thing is secure on you. But that always gives me anxiety. And my mom almost lost her 3D glasses, but she got them before they fell out. Which I don't know if that could. But anyway, that was fun. That I mean, my parents are in their were in their 60s, so that kind of stuff could still be rough on their body, on their bodies. So it's like, so we didn't do a lot, and my mom looked at some of like the Griffin, the what is it? I can't remember what Buckbeak is. That ride that is kind of like you're riding. I can't remember what you're riding. That ride. My mom was like, "Heck no, I'm not doing that ride." After we did the castle ride. So yeah, that was, and I was kind of appreciative of that because I still, like I said, I get anxiety about roller coasters still. They still make me nervous. Anyway, so that was really fun. I had a good time at that, and doing that again. And I appreciate that it was sunny this time. I think it was kind of overcast when Terry and I were there. And so that was a really fun day. And then later that evening, around 6, we went to the Hollywood Horror Nights for my first time. And again, I was very anxious because I get nervous about the idea of these people in costume, with chainsaws coming after you and, jumping down and going, ah! That stuff, that makes me a little nervous. But we did that. And I did okay. It was good. It worked out. It was kind of fun. I mean, the problem was we did Universal earlier, the Harry Potter World earlier in the day, and we did a lot of walking. So we were kind of tired, but we did, so we only got through two of the activities. I say activities because the 2 things that we did weren't rides, which is fun. I mean, I would be very nervous about doing something at night, doing a ride at night. It'd make me even more nervous. So we did, it was basically like, they had a theme, of course. And there was basically, there was either shows or like a haunted place, like house kind of that you would walk through, a haunted walkthrough area. And we ended up we didn't do any of the shows, And and a couple of the ones I wanted to do were like you had an 80-minute wait. Um, like we were waiting. My dad and uncle, because my mom didn't go because we actually brought our Murphy with us. So mom decided opted to stay home and watch Murphy. So it's just my dad and my uncle, um, and I. So we did a classic horror monsters walkthrough. And then the other one we did was my dad's really interested in the whole Bigfoot and all that stuff, all those conspiracies and people supposedly spotting Bigfoot and all that. So we did the Yeti campground thing. And it was kind of cool theming. The theming of these was cool, but the problem is, and to be fair, we only did two. We only got through two, like I said, because by the time we got to the Yeti, my legs were sore. So it was like, okay, after this one, I'm ready to go. And my dad and uncle both agreed. But it was just so like, it was kind of the same thing, just maybe different theming. It was all something popping out at you, like either an animatronic or a real person was just popping out at you, or just staring at you and trying to scare you and scream at you and stuff. Like, or occasionally they would have someone with a body part chopped off that was bleeding and all of that. But it wasn't. It was all kind of felt repetitive. So it's kind of a little disappointment that, I mean, it was still cool to go, and if I'm able to get together with Terry, because during that we tried to arrange that she would join us, but then she's been trying to get hours at her new job, so it didn't exactly work out with her schedule, and then getting a ride and stuff because to meet up with us. So but if she wanted to do it, I might still do it. I mean, although it is a lot of money for something that's that basically feels kind of the same. We did end the night at this place that was a karaoke bar. That was a not go so well though. This karaoke bar. I mean, the karaoke was kind of fun, but because my dad's a big fan of it, and but the service at this place wasn't that great. Like the only thing they had available was pizza, and they had to get somewhere else. So it was like, and the waitress was the only person there. The only waitress there, and they had to get the pizza somewhere else. So they even messed up our order. So that, I don't remember what the place is called, but that did not go. So that part of that last little thing we did wasn't that great. So it was, I mean, I'm glad I went, because they say that I finally been to Halloween Horror Nights, but it was kind of a letdown. I mean, maybe I would have enjoyed some of the shows. Like I said, the one show I wanted to go do was the one based on Stranger Things. I wanted to do that. But that was the one that was an 80-minute wait. So be prepared for that, for long waits, unless you do the express tickets, which are a lot of money. So if you're prepared to spend that money for the express tickets so you can get through the line quickly, I mean, I guess it depends. But anyway, so then we went to Disney Springs. I did buy at least two things from Disney Springs. I did buy a sweatshirt, a white one with Mickey on it. That was kind of looked a little more like black and white with a little color, kind of Mickey. But I don't have that because that's in the laundry. But I decided to have that washed. The other thing I got from there was, and this is from the big Disney store, that big one. I also got this. So, as you guys know, if you know me, you know that, or if you've been watching from me for a while, I probably mentioned that Beauty and the Beast is my favorite Disney movie. And I'm the minority here, but I do love the live action one. I don't love every single live action, but I do, there's at least 4 of them that I love, that I think and other people don't love as much and are more critical of. But, I mean, I like it. I enjoyed them. I also may as well get the pen to go with it. Although I'm not a big fan of the fat ones, but it's, because it's her dress. So it's the famous yellow dress. It's like, I should get it. I may as well get it. It's really cool because they also have the journal. This is the journal, by the way. Not the Beauty and the Beast, like not the novelization. It's a journal. Just fine by me because I would be iffy about the novel if they had a novelization. Um, Plus at that big Disney store, they don't have books in there anyway. Closest to books they have were these. But they had the you know how like Cinderella and Snow White and Sleeping Beauty, they all have that it opens with the book. Well, they have that in a journal form, like the book in a journal form, and I feel like they should have Enchanted because Enchanted kind of pays homage to that with the it opens with the book and Julie Andrews is narrating. I think they should have the book version of Enchanted also as a journal. But of course, I was like, I have to get the Beauty and the Beast one. So, we spent a lot of time there because, like, I was just because we were trying to find stuff for my nephews and niece. But it's hard to, because I don't know what they like, which Disney characters that they like and are into. It's just very hard, and everything there is so expensive. I mean, you're almost better off just buying those, going to the Walmart in Orlando. But, at the same time, if you're there, you gotta buy something. So we spent a lot of time there, and it got to the point where I was just so stressful. I felt the same feeling I got the one time I was in TJ Maxx, where my sister lives, and I got so stressful being in that store. I got really like anxious and emotional because I was like having this headache. I was feeling hot. I was like, I need to get out of here. Let's just, I mean, normally I love shopping in TJ Maxx, but it was like it was just too much. That one time, and of course that where my sister lives, she lives in a city area, suburb city area, so it just was too much, and that's how it kind of felt in the Disney store. And this is November, it's not even the holiday yet, like the first week of November, and it was just as crowded. So it was like, I mean, it wasn't terrible, it was tolerable, but still. So like Disney, especially in the evenings. But anyway, so yeah, that's what I got. And then there's the sweatshirt. The sweatshirt I got from the second time we went. And the second time when we got socks we were trying to get Star Wars socks for my nephew. And then get socks for the other one as well. So, and the good news, they never watch my channel, so I can talk about what I get them on here. Okay, now let's get to the main thing, the reason why you guys watch my channel, the reading. So, I did bring a physical book with me, but I didn't read a lot from it. I just was like, let me just bring a physical book out. And so, I read a little bit more of Dombey and Son by Dickens, where, and there was an interesting, there's a chapter where we see Florence, Mr. Dombey's daughter, and she compares her life to a fairy tale, like a princess being imprisoned. Which I think I really like that metaphor, that image of she's this beautiful princess who's kept in a tower, imprisoned in a tower. I think that's such a fun metaphor, even though it's not a positive situation for her at the moment. I like the metaphor. I thought, there's a whimsiness to it, a magicalness. Like, even though this is a story that takes place in the real world and there's no actual magic, it's just that there is a sort of a whimsy, like there's a whimsy and magic to Dickens's works. I think that's probably why I like him, is even though it's kind of in the real world, it's not like a fantasy world, it's still, in a way, it is a fantasy, because it's like our world, but there's a magicness to Dickens and the worlds he creates and his characters. Like, you could see them, and you could see it's a fairy tale in itself. So I don't have a lot to say, because I didn't read as much of this. I was just thinking about this book because I think one of the booktubers I was watching right before we left for this vacation had talked about this book or something, or talked about Dickens or something. So yeah, I read a little bit of that, but most of my focus was my reading on my Kindle. And this year I really want to actually participate in Nonfiction November, because I talk about doing it, but then I never do it. And I've been slowly getting more into nonfiction. Like last year, I was like, oh, let me read a nonfiction every month, and then maybe by November, or I might have said this in the beginning of this year, but for either last year or the beginning of this year, I said, maybe if I make sure I read a book each month that's nonfiction, then maybe I'll finally be motivated. And so far, so good. I seem motivated this year to participate. And I started the month reading a book on the Knights Templar, which I did not find I did not find the book on Storygraph, which was really annoying. So I couldn't update myself on there, but I was able to update on Goodreads. It's the Knights Templar, a captivating. I used to know the title. It's a super long title. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I got rid of the book yet. Home. The Knights Templar, a captivating guide to a powerful Catholic military order and their impact on the Crusades. So I've always been fascinated by the Knights Templar, so it was kind of interesting. So as soon as I saw that on Kindle, because I was looking for a book that I didn't have to buy, that I could download on my Kindle so I could read it, because I knew we would get there around Halloween, but then the rest of the week would lead into November. So I was like, let me get a book for Nonfiction November, but I wanted to, without having to bring another book with me, so I could just bring Dombey and Son with me. And I ended up and I saw that one. So I got that one. And I've always been intrigued by the Knights Templar, wanting to know more about them and all the crazy theories about them. Like, the whole idea if there's a treasure that they buried all around the world, that whole theory, and them being connected to the Freemasons and everything, like all that stuff is always so interesting to me, always so fascinating to me. So the book talks a lot about that and debunking those theories, and just like a deep dive into the history and how they were really good with their finances and all those crusades that they went on, which I did not know there were so many crusades. There I didn't realize that there was a lot of them. And of course there was a lot of issues with the Middle East with the Knights Templar. I know there was a lot of that going on. I need to, even more important to read that. There was that one series about them that came out a couple years ago, that I've been meaning to. I think it's on Netflix, so I need to watch that, because I started to watch it, but then I started to lose interest on it, because it's that kind of stuff, especially medieval stories. I don't you have to get me in the right mood for it, so I need to watch that again. I don't remember what it's called, because I don't think it's Knights Templar. I think it's something else Knights. So I need to watch that. Especially having read this. Now, I would love to get other books on the Knights Templar that are more of a specific deep dive, because I feel like this kind of was general information, explaining everything. It didn't even have an author. I mean, it did, but it was the author, it says by Captivating History. So I think it's kind of a History Channel type book. And like I said, I couldn't find it on, Storygraph. So every time I tried to download it onto Storygraph, upload it, and I put both the ISBN number and the title and all that exactly how it is, and it kept giving, both times it gave me the wrong book. That's not it. So that was kind of annoying. But it definitely if you really are interested in the Knights Templar, I think it's and you haven't read anything else about them, then maybe it might be a good place to start. Of course, I haven't read any other books, so maybe it just felt very much like a starting place. Um, so then the only other book I read was I started reading Rosemary's Baby, which I bought on here right before we left. And of course, I'm familiar with the plot. Like, I've never watched the movie, but I am familiar with it. I know what the story is. I've just never, like I said, I've never watched the movie, and I'm obviously never read the book. So it's kind of cool to finally read the original novel, and then maybe I'll be able to watch the movie, because the movie came on AMC around back in October. In October, a couple weeks ago, the movie came on TV, and I was tempted to watch it, but I was like, I want to read the book. So, and it's really interesting. It's, in case you don't know, it's basically this young couple. It's in the 70s, so there are some things there that are a bit dated, things that not everybody's gonna be okay with and comfortable with. Some of the things that they say, like, just a little bit, and and this young yuppie couple, Rosemary, and then her husband. I don't remember, Guy is his name, but it's not his actual name because he's an actor. So he came up with a better name, and they want to get this specific apartment. They're looking for apartments, and they want to get this one particular apartment, this one building, the Bramford, which has a lot of people. It's very posh and prestigious. Everyone wants to live there, and they are finally able to get that place. They even have to kind of come up with a lie to cancel the other lease that they got, because they didn't think they'd get the Bramford. And they get there, and at first, Rosemary makes friends with this woman, Terry, who tells her about this older couple that she's living with. She got into drugs and stuff, and this elderly couple took her in, the Castevets, and they've raised her, and she has nothing but praises for them. But then, a few months later, she has committed suicide. And Rosemary and her husband and Guy meet the couple after, explaining to them how they met Terry and they became friends with her, and that she had nothing but good things to say about them, and they kind of attach themselves to Rosemary and Guy and start really getting into their, I think, get a little too, in my opinion, involved in their lives. Like, they have nothing but praises about Guy and his acting. Like, they're like, I saw you before, and you were so much better than the famous, these other famous actors, well-known actors, and they start, and Mr. Castevet has a lot of great stories to tell to Guy, and Miss Castevet is always like talking to Rosemary and trying to help her out and do things for her. And then when she starts to get involved, when Rosemary finally gets pregnant, because they've been wanting to get pregnant, she gets a little too involved in her pregnancy. And I'm already on part 2. There's 3 parts. And because I kind of already know the plot, I kind of know the deal. I'm kind of guessing I know the deal already with the Castevets. And there's just, although I think there are things in there that would make, at least I think, would make a person suspicious, but then again, I know the plot a little bit, so maybe it's just easy for me to figure it out. I don't know, but like, there's one scene where they ask them about the elderly couple, the Castevets are asking Guy and Rosemary about their religious beliefs, and like, and they both have claimed to become agnostic, and the Castevets kind of agree with them, about not believing in God and stuff, but Rosemary kind of still holds on to her Catholic roots and can't entirely let go of it. and they're just, and the fact that they're so involved in Rosemary's pregnancy is a little bit, to me, is like very weird. But you are starting to, the point I am now in the book, you're definitely starting to see even more of, okay, something's not right here. And you start to kind of question things, you get a little suspicious. But excuse me. But it's like, you could argue that this couple, they mean well, they're just very overbearing and overly involved, but I don't know, maybe I'm just, watched enough TV, read enough books to be suspicious quickly. But anyway, it's really good. I'm glad I'm really enjoying reading this. I did get there was a deal for the book Psycho. I can't remember the author's name. There was a really good deal, so I bought that book on my Kindle as well. So I have that for my next one, and I want to get The Exorcist at some point. Although my mom was looking at me like, really? Oh my god, that book is so terrifying, or that movie is so terrifying, because I don't think she's read the book before. But like, my mom is definitely not a horror fan. My dad might raise his eyebrows, but he's more interested in horror than my mom is. He would be more intrigued to watch it, and and wouldn't be like, "Are you crazy? Why would you read that book?" But although for me, they say The Exorcist is supposedly based on a true story. I don't know if that's true. That's based on a true story. Because I don't know if that can, I do believe in God and stuff, but I don't know if that could, I don't know. I'm not going to say that I know for sure that could happen to people, even though I do believe in God. But I am wary of messing with things like Ouija boards and all that. I will not. Part of me is, morbidly curious, but then another part of me is like, you know what? No, I'm not going to mess with it, because it's just going to open doors that could potentially open doors that I shouldn't open. Although I find it funny that they have it, like, at places like Target, they have it in the game section where you can buy it, and it's like, really? I guess these companies don't care. I guess Hasbro doesn't care. Is not religious or something. I don't know. But, yeah, I just think it's funny that they have it. I think it's hilarious that they do that. That you can buy it on plate, like, in the game section of Target. Like, board game section, not video game, but board games. So, yeah, I'm like, why are you selling that in the board game section? You don't know if that is legit or not. It's just, to me, it's just a little funny and weird at the same time that they would do that they have that where you can buy the game, you can buy a Ouija board as a board game. But anyway, although I guess because it's not it's probably not the real thing, so but anyway, yeah, either way, I'm not gonna mess with that. But at the same time, this is like The Exorcist book. It's just a book at the end of the day. It's just like me reading the book. It's not gonna, even if I know for sure it's based on a true story, it's like, at the end of the day, I'm like, it's still just a book. I'm still reading the words. Yeah, and the movie might be terrifying, but the movie's also older, so so it wouldn't, like, if I want, the movie would be more prone to scare me than reading the book. That's for sure. So, but I want to read, because I want to part of classic horror. So I want to read, like, I'm still continuing to try to read stuff, horror, other than Stephen King. But anyway, so I didn't get a lot of reading done, but I was in Orlando, so I didn't think I would. And I probably shouldn't have brought a physical book, but someone on book, watching someone mention Dombey and Center Dickens on BookTube kind of made me think of it. So, so yeah, I felt like, oh, I should bring that. But anyway, so that is how my vacation went. That is how my vacation went. if you guys like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Click subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell notification button below if you want to be notified about my latest videos. And I think I said, like I said, if you like it, give it a thumbs up. Click subscribe. And I will talk to y'all later. All right, bye.